Alright, so I'm gonna do this really quick because my camera's about to die. So I did figure out the problem with the speed gauge, the speedometer, the odometer, and the miles per gallon. So if you're having that problem, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I did. I did have codes that said that my ABS sensors were out in my wheels, and then as well as the brake booster. So if you might be having these problems, you can always try this as well. Even if you don't, because I don't think it fixed it on my car with the brake booster and all that, it did fix the gauge cluster. So it could be, so somehow these two things are related. And then I also fixed my AC by replacing the expansion valve. And you don't actually have to take out your gauge to replace this expansion valve in the is300. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you all that real quick, and then...
Okay, so I know this is kind of weird making two problems in one video, and if you're here for just one of these problems, I'm sorry if you have to sit through it, but you'll be able to fix them both. If you need to do both, that's even better. So the reason that the speed gauge wasn't working, so like I said, the speedometer wasn't working, miles per gallon wasn't working, and then the odometer doesn't work, or it wasn't going up at least. So the way that I fixed that was by replacing the ABS and traction control module. It's 2 bolts, pretty simple. I got this off of eBay for about 30 bucks. Really simple fix for it. And then here are your plugs. This is a lot cheaper than replacing your actual ABS sensors. So if it says those are going out and your speed gauge isn't going out, and you have an 02 through 05 model, then that could be it. The 02 to the 05 models don't actually read off of your ABS speed sensors for your speed gauge. The 01 model does, and if your speed gauge is doing for that, it's a whole different beast. You just gotta follow the wiring, and I'm pretty sure it goes straight to the speed gauge. But then again, it could go off your ABS module as well, so you could probably check that, and it might be it as well. So all you do is you just unscrew these 2 bolts, and I'll go ahead and show you where that is, and then you plug it in. So if you come under your dash, I have it taken apart so I can do the expansion valve as well, but it is right there. So it's right under your dash again. So here's coming up from the plugs, and it's right here. So right here, all you do is you unscrew this screw right here and this screw up here, and then it comes right out. You just unplug it, and then you bolt the other one up and plug it back in. And that is how I fix my speed gauge, odometer, and miles per gallon. Now, I've been looking a lot on the IS forums, and I haven't found a fix for that. So if you're having that problem and you've stumbled upon this video, then I'm so glad, because hopefully this will fix it for you. Now, the next is the expansion valve. Now, from reading the IS forums, it says that you have to take apart your entire dash to get to it. And that is, well, at least for the 04 models. And they should pretty much all be the same, untrue. So I was gonna go ahead and take this out, and it's pretty much loose. And then I looked up and found, I think it was a is300. It had a shortcut on it, and it was a lot easier than taking out the whole dash. So I'll go ahead and show you all that. Let me go ahead and pop the hood, and then I'll show you how to take that out. Again, if I'm going over this pretty quickly, I'm sorry. It's gonna rain in a little bit. Oh, my stick fell. Like I said, my battery's about to die, and it's gonna rain in a little bit. So all you have to do is, it's gonna suck to get in here. Do it while your engine's cold, trust me. It's a lot easier, because I did this while the engine was hot. You just unscrew this one bolt right here, and then you I used a screwdriver and pried on the sandwich plate. Just use turbo turns, and then you just get those 2 hoses out. Now that's the easy part. Now it gets a little bit harder once you get in here, but it's not actually too bad. It's a lot easier than tearing out your whole dash. So excuse the mess. I had to clip these wires. You don't have to clip these wires. I just have a special ABS and BCS delete going on. So if you don't have that, then you don't have to. Don't worry about these 2 wires. So what you do is, you literally come underneath your dash. You come underneath your dash, and it's gonna be kind of uncomfortable. Let me get a light in there. And then boom, it's right there. Now there's gonna be a little insulation on it, and you just peel the insulation off. Let me see if I got it in here. It's just gonna be this insulation right here, and you peel it off. And then once you get that insulation out, then all you have to do is take out these 2 Torx. So these 2 Torx, they're Torque 25s. So don't use a 27, don't use a 20, because you'll strip these. You couldn't tell already, I already stripped that bottom one. So do be careful. Now, while you have, as you can see, there's a lot of this gel insulation around it, or this plaster type stuff. It will get inside of these bolts whenever you take it off. So try to use a pick and get that stuff out of there. And it's definitely, so do your best not to strip those bolts, because it's going to be a pain. I stripped just one, and it was the top bolt, but I put it in the bottom just because it was going to be a lot easier. I used the vice grip to get them out, so if you strip them, just put a vice grip on there and twist them out, It's gonna take a while, but you'll get it eventually. Like I said, get your pick and pick all that stuff out of there, and then use it. Go flat and push pressure on it, and then you can turn them out. Pretty easy. And then, okay, so once you get those two screws out. Okay, so once you get those two screws out, basically you want to go right here between these plates, and I put a scraper, a metal scraper in there, lifted it up a little bit, and then got a little screwdriver, and then split them apart. Now, this is gonna kind of be hard. Sorry if it's at a weird angle. It's gonna be hard because you need to do the first part where you take the screws out from the engine bay first. That way you can move this. So once you unscrew it, then you can be able to move this whole thing out of the hole, and then you just got to get them out. So don't worry about getting the back sandwich plate off back here, because you can get that once the whole thing comes out. So you just want to get this sandwich plate off first, pull it out, and then you can get this whole thing and pull it out. You might want to put insulation back on it too, because you might get a couple drips. I'm going to do it in a little bit once I put my dash back together. But yeah, that is how you replace the expansion valve on your is300. A lot easier than taking out your whole dash. Even if you took out your whole dash, I think it might be a little bit easier, but to take out your dash, it's gonna be a little bit harder. You gotta take out your dash, and it's gonna be hard, and then you can replace it. So again, make sure y'all try to share this, because I know there's a lot of people trying to figure out the infamous is300 speed gauge cluster not working. And everything, like I said, has worked for me. So if it doesn't work for you, it might be a different way. The way that I figured this one out was that I ran the continuity, I think is how you say it, from the actual ECU into the speed gauge, and I was only getting a continuity of like 0.4, and it just went random. So it was like 0.4, 0.6, 0.1. So clearly I wasn't getting a really good connection there. And then after exploring through the forums, I found that an ABS traction control module actually goes between those two things. And so my dad was telling me they might be sharing the same ground, and I don't know how true that is, but that might be it, and that might be why your gauge isn't working. I would also check your MPX fuses, your ignition fuses, and there's a couple other ones, but from that is what I've really seen about how to fix this. And then your expansion valve, you don't have to take out the whole cluster to do it. That is how you do it. It's gonna suck because you have to lean on your back a little bit, but it's a lot easier than taking out your entire dash. Also, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below, because I will be trying to help you out as much as possible. And if I don't answer there, you can message me on Instagram at Hugie_is. It's gonna be right here somewhere. I'm gonna put it right here. And then yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. It's really short, like I said. Everything's dying, trash outside, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this edited and get this up to y'all as soon as possible. And thanks for sticking around. Make sure to subscribe, please. Ow!